103.2 Preston FM.
Your community.
Your radio.
My next guest is in the studio. It's Leader of Preston Council, Peter Rankin. You've just returned off holiday, haven't you? There's a nice segue from Madonna there to your holiday.
That was really funny, yes.
Where have you been? What have you been up to?
I've been to France.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes, the centre of gastronomique. Food and wine in Lyon. Very wonderful place if you like food and wine, and they've got a fantastic market.
This is a very apt conversation because we've just been touching on Preston markets as well this afternoon. One of the first questions that's come into me about the Preston markets is, what have you got in for 1970s architecture? There's the bus station and the Guildhall and now Preston markets. What have you got in for Preston's architecture?
Well, I've nothing against the Guildhall architecture, although I don't know anybody who actually likes the architecture of the Guildhall. The Market Hall is a pretty ghastly looking building. Even English Heritage, who I was talking to about this a few weeks ago, said, terrible building, no, go and demolish it. We won't be listing it. But the bus station is listed, obviously, and the reason why it was scheduled to be demolished was back in the midst of time, really, before I was even on the council. I mean, I just happened to get the rough end of the stick, as it were, because I happen to be leader now when all the decisions are going to have to be made about buildings.
And I was researching a little bit about when the reports came in for the market. It has been on the decline for a good while, hasn't it?
Yes, I think it must be 2 years, at least 2 years ago, when we actually went to the market traders and said, well, look, the problem with this building is that it was scheduled for demolition under the, I hesitate to use the word, tithe barn, under the tithe barn scheme. And the council did not spend the money on it that was needed to be spent, because, you know, if something's scheduled to be demolished, why would you spend a lot of money on it? And then, of course, came the financial crisis that hit us in 2008, and by 2011, when I became leader, the tithe barn was abandoned, and we were left with a market hall that needed, by any estimate, at least £8 to £10 million spending on it. Not just the market hall, but the car park, which actually is attached to it.
The multi-storey car park that's part of the market hall is
right.
The whole thing.
Yes, that's right. So we did have that meeting with the market traders and said, look, you know, we are committed to Preston markets, particularly the food side, and we will do everything we can to ensure that the market continues. And we're still doing that. I mean, we were very disappointed, obviously, because we were going for a £10 million scheme under that wonderful 1875 canopy, the covered market. We just didn't get the lottery award that we were hoping for. We made it to the shortlist, but we got turned down. So basically, we're £5 million short for that particular scheme, and we're just looking at how we can, with the money we have, how we can accommodate the traders. So we're in the process of appointing an architect who's going to be working with the traders. Now, I've been criticised for saying, well, we haven't got a scheme yet, but you know, the traders would criticise me if I went to them and said, okay, folks, we've made these decisions. This is what it's going to be like. This is what we're going to do. But rather than doing that, we've decided to appoint an architect, and we've said to the traders, well, look, please work with this guy and see what we can do with the money we have available. We'll do our very best. But, you know, the council taxpayers wouldn't be too happy about us putting the council tax up a huge whack to be able to afford to borrow, another 5 million on top of what we have, in order to, to produce what we ideally would want to do. It's all about, these days, it's all about, in the public sector, being able to do what you can with what little we've got.
I was Dave Bullock, who's the market manager down there. He's been on the show quite a few times, and he's doing a lot in the markets right now. So I remember there were dinosaurs on there recently, and
yes.
Titan the robot's been out, and they've been having vintage events. So there is. It's not that we're going to lose the market. There's definitely a desire to keep the market in some form.
Oh heavens, yes! As I say, I want there to be a food market. I mean, Lynn, my wife, and I've always shopped on the food market ever since I came to Preston in 1979. So over 30 years, going to shop on the market. Always get me cheese there and vegetables and meat. We tend to eat a lot of vegetables and fish, but yeah. So the market, we do need to continue that market. It's great. I mean, where I've just been, Lyon, in France, they do have this wonderful indoor market, but they've also got outdoor markets that sell meats and cheese and all sorts of wonderful stuff. It's actually great to visit.
I remember when I used to be younger, I lived out towards Chorley, and they had sort of like an outdoor market, and I always remember going to the cheese store there and being a little bit sneaky and getting an extra bit of cheese. So it is possible to have a combination of indoor-outdoor markets and still retain that beautiful food.
Well, of course it is, and we're going to work to see what we can do to ensure that we have a proper food market with vegetable stalls, with stalls selling meat and fish and cheese. We want it to be a comprehensive food market, the way it always has been. But when it comes down to it, it's going to be up to the traders. If they don't want to go with what is available, then so be it. But we really do want to make this work. But it's quite early. It's quite early yet to be able to say, well, it's going to be like this or like that or like something else. We just really want to, as I say, get the architects appointed and see what we can provide for the money available. I mean, it was all explained in a letter that went to every single market trader a couple of weeks ago, which I think unfairly I got criticised for, and I don't understand why. By actually communicating what we wanted to do, I got criticised. Very strange. I don't understand.
What about the working with the architect and making a plan that will potentially please almost everybody, because we know we can't always please everybody. One of the things that's been mentioned is another cinema in the city centre. Is that definitely part of the plan?
Well, it is, because once we've established the new market, we will have an empty site there, and it's a building that is past its sell-by date. It was. I don't actually think it's a very nice building, but as I say, it would have to have closed anyway, because so much needs doing to it to make it good for a food market. So there will be a site there, and we asked the people of Preston a couple of years ago what they wanted in Preston, and one of the big problems is evening. What do you do in the evening in Preston? Well, there's nothing in the city centre, absolutely nothing apart from bars. If you're a drinker, and if you enjoy clubbing, but that's about it. So we want to make it much more attractive for people to come in. And why would they come in? Well, cinema is one of the things that when we went out and asked them in an exercise that we called Your People, Your Say, they said, look, it'd be great if we had a cinema in the city centre rather than out in a couple of miles away on the dock, or a mile and a half away in the other direction. And those cinemas have been established for quite some time now. There's a new generation of cinemas that are beginning to appear in a number of similar-sized cities to Preston. So that is what we're aiming for. Whether we'll get there, it remains to be seen. But we're working very, very hard to, as I say, on the market project. And then once that building is vacated, we'll demolish it, and hopefully we'll get not just a cinema but restaurants as well. Preston is ready for this. It really is. You know, we have not been playing to our potential as a medium-sized city. We really haven't, and I feel we're ready to do that now.
So is this part of Tim Joel's Wheels Within Wheels with the events coming forward in Preston, that hopefully we could have a big evening night culture?
Well, that's I don't know whether Tim's been on, but
he was on a few months ago talking. They're already gearing up for Christmas, and he was talking about how far away he's been looking at events and things, and it was interesting to think that maybe we are now really focusing on bringing up the Preston nightlife, and the market is part of that.
Absolutely. The market's quartered with cinema, restaurants during the evening. The Guildhall, the rejuvenated Guildhall. I really feel that Simon Rigby is. Having talked to the guy, I know how enthusiastic he is about the Guildhall. As far as events are concerned, that's all part of the jigsaw. We're aiming really to have a biennial guild event. Perhaps it's a misnomer to call it a guild, because obviously the guild only happens every 20 years. But what we want to do is have, a series of events that happen every 2 years that are significant, that can then build up towards the guild. Because one of the difficulties has been with Preston Guild, just to digress slightly, by the time it gets to the next guild, all the organisers have gone or retired, or they're just not around. So it's learning everything from scratch again. It's just crazy. So apart from culture being important anyway, arts and culture being important, it's another way of ensuring that we build up this expertise over the years, so that when the guild comes around, we have a team of people who've been used to putting on a series of events every 2 years. I'm really excited about it, because I think perhaps 10 years ago the future was retail. Let's build shops, and that was what Tideburn was all about. These days it's all about encouraging people to come into the city centre for other things, and that can be culture in its widest sense, whether it's dance or poetry or drama, music of all sorts. So it's and there's some terrific. It's not but a case of bringing in people from outside either. There's some terrifically talented, creative people in Preston, and it's all a case of getting all that energy together and working with it and putting on exciting stuff.
Wow. I'm very excited. I love all arts and culture, so this is very music to my ears. I'm sure Huey, who is our regular host of Chat City, he would love to hear this too, because he's very passionate about bringing up the arts and culture. He's a big fan of live theatre, so it was great to hear that Simon Rigby was all for that in the local area. So it sounds quite promising, and it's also a little bit, I guess, reassuring to think that the plans for the market is not set in stone, and it is an open dialogue rather than a written, this is the budget and this is exactly what we're going to do. And
yeah,
it's good to hear.
Well, that's right. Obviously there is a limit to our budget. But I'm sure we'll be able to come up with something that may not satisfy everybody, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we can convince the majority of the traders that to come in with us. And okay, they've had in many ways they've had fantastic facilities in that market hall. With if you go behind the scenes in the market hall, you can see the fantastic preparation facilities, storage facilities that they have. We'll never be able to replicate that, unfortunately. But I think we can produce something that is going to be really attractive to the people of Preston, and will bring in new customers who've never ever thought to go into that building.
Well, thank you very much for coming in today and talking about this for us.
Okay.
I appreciate it. It was quite short notice. Have a wonderful week,
Yes,
and
thank you.
talk
Happy
soon.
to come in. Okay, cheers.
You're listening to the Chat City interviews on 103.2 Preston FM.